These pictures are of the 1936 flood. These pictures were taken in Northumberland and Sunbury. The water crested at 32.10 feet. The flood started on March 11th and it lasted for about 2 weeks. Many people died, went missing, or were injured during the flood. The Sunbury flood wall was proposed after the flood that occurred in March of 1936. The flood wall cost $6.6 million. These pictures show you a little bit of what the flood was like. It shows you some pictures of how people transported, which they mostly transported by boats. Hello, I'm here with my Uncle Roger interviewing him questions about the 1972 flood. What were you doing when the flood happened?
I was living on the old trail in Schmoken Dam behind McDonald's. My wife and 2 daughters were up at Williamsport. So actually when it was raining so much, nobody was doing much. I didn't go to work because I worked in Sunbury. So I just got my camera out and had enough gas in the car that I could drive around and take pictures from various points like Shikellamy Lookout, from Winfield, up at Winfield where the water was coming up from the river, and that's about it.
Well, was there a lot of the roads closed, or weren't they closed yet?
Yeah, the roads were closed. It felt funny because there wasn't much traffic because this is the main corridor through the valley, and there was a lot of people stranded in motels, but there wasn't much traffic because all the roads were closed.
Do you have any specific stories from the 1972 flood?
Nothing that I can say that's exciting except for maybe a train crew that I rescued that gave them a place to sleep or took them to a place where they could sleep overnight. They parked it up at a siding on between Northumberland and Selinsgrove, and I stumbled upon them and took pictures of them and heard that they were offered a home or overnight accommodations, so I knew where to take them and I took them up and dropped them off. That was the last I ever heard of them. I assumed they got home safe.
Yeah.
And the train was still sitting there idling with their brakes on overnight, and the next day I took my daughters back and took their pictures standing on the caboose. That was exciting.
My grandfather remembers standing on top of the Shikellamy Lookout during the 1972 flood, and he couldn't see the Norrie Bridge. The road was completely covered. All you could see was the sides. You could see mobile homes, cottages, trees, and debris floating down the water. The water was at the top of Sunbury's flood wall. There used to be a railroad bridge between the Norrie and Sunbury bridges. The railroad bridge is what saved the Sunbury Bridge from being destroyed. My great-grandfather was a firefighter, but they only called him when there was an emergency. Well, during the flood, the Susquehannah Old Trail was completely covered in water. After the storm, Pappy Hunt was called to help clean up the mess that was left behind. He said that my grandfather could tag along, and he did. He said, I could still remember walking into every house with mud and debris all over. My grandfather, the fire department, and I took shovels and went to each house shoveling out all of the debris and mud. We had to be careful so we wouldn't get electrocuted.